What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, we've been getting a whole lot of copium coming through online and on your television set, as a matter of fact, from CNN, MSNBC, and all these places. We've been getting a whole lot of analysis and questions of why. Why did we lose this election? And blah, 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 blah. And most of it has been just copium. And a lot of it has been just continuing on. Oh, we just voted in Hitler and all this other garbage that, Trump's a fascist and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And it's all nonsense. And one thing I can't stand about a lot of this is they're not doing any self-reflection. And that they're trying to say, oh, well, Republicans didn't self-reflect in 2020, blah, 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 blah. Well, I always do say, though, that there are some sane Democrats out there, and those voices are being absolutely put down right now. We had this amazing clip coming from CNN from a Democrat strategist that just hit the nail right on the freaking head. Check this out.
Julie Roginski, I want to go to you on this because, of course, he is making the speech at the White House against this backdrop of a lot of finger pointing right now in the Democratic Party. Some who are saying, look, had President Biden not announced, to try to get reelected, and we all know how that transpired later on, perhaps this wouldn't be the situation. And we'll never be able to know, right? What do you say to that?
I'm going to speak some hard truths to my friends in the Democratic Party. This is not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Kamala Harris's fault. It's not Barack Obama's fault. It is the fault of the Democratic Party in not knowing how to communicate effectively to voters. We are not the party of common sense, which is what the message that voters sent to us. For a number of reasons. We don't know how to speak to voters. When we address Latino, and language has meaning. When we address Latino voters as Latinx, for instance, because that's the politically correct thing to do. It makes them think that we don't even live on the same planet as they do. When we are too afraid to say that, hey, college kids, if you're trashing a campus at Columbia University because you're unhappy about some sort of policy and you're taking over a university, and you're trashing it and preventing other students from learning, that is unacceptable. But we're so worried about alienating one or another cohort in our coalition that we don't know what to say when normal people look at that and say, wait a second, I send my kids to college so they can learn, not so that they can burn buildings and trash lawns, right? And so on and so forth. When we put pronouns after names and say she, her, as opposed to saying, you know what, if I call you by the wrong pronoun, call me out, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. But stop with the virtue signaling and just speak to people like they're normal. There's nothing I'm going to say to Shermichael that I'm not going to say to you, that I'm not going to say to somebody else. I speak the same language to everybody. But that's not what Democrats do. We constantly try to parse out different ways of speaking to different cohorts because our focus groups or our polling shows that so-and-so appeals to such and such. That's not how normal people think. It's not common sense. And we need to start being the party of common sense again. Joe Biden is not responsible for that. Neither is Kamala Harris. It is a problem that Democrats have had for years. I've been banging the drum on this for, I don't know how, probably 10 years, if not longer on this. We need to get back to being the party of common sense, that people look at us and say, we understand you. We appreciate what you say because you speak our language. And until we do that, we should stop blaming other people for our own mistakes.
People are sick and tired of this woke circus coming out of the Democratic Party. There's no accountability for anything. They're tired of the virtue signaling. They're tired of everything coming from the Democratic Party. They're trying to progress society too far, too fast, and people are just done with it. They're just tapping out. We're like, no, we're voting for Trump. And some people just can't come to grips with that they've been trying to lead the Democratic Party in the wrong direction. Some people in this country, and this is a good reason why, you should maybe question as to where you send your kids to college. This next clip I got for you guys coming up is a college professor, for crying out loud, of African American studies, of all things. I'm not sure what kind of degree that would get you, but this guy does not understand, even when he's told to his face, why you guys lost the election and what is going on in this country with all this woke garbage, with all this virtue signaling, with all this trying to progress society in a certain direction that society does not need to go. The mandate is clear, but this guy does not get it.
These people are suddenly like, yeah, that was my guy. We're hearing stories in the suburbs the day after the election. People are now putting Trump signs up.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, but let's be clear, Trumpism is a form of identity politics.
Amen.
We don't want to say that this, my beautiful white skin, remember? That's what he said?
Yes.
Tucker Carlson saying in Madison Square Garden, we have been given permission to call BS on this wokeism stuff. We will no longer be made to feel guilty. That comes straight out of, we will not be replaced. That came straight out of Tucker.
There were a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump who didn't listen to the rally and who don't know who Tucker Carlson is, but who are super unhappy about inflation, that they can't afford their lives, and they voted for him. And they're not buying into fascism.
I get that, but I think they have an idea, though, that whenever the incoherence of the country comes into full view, the tricky magic of falling into place, falling behind a notion of whiteness that could hold off all the reason why all hell is breaking loose economically, right, is because big government is putting its thumb on the scale and redistributing resources from deserving people to undeserving people, right? So there's this sense, right, that whiteness, right, is under threat. The demographic shifts. The country isn't what all of these racially ambiguous children on Cheerios commercials are confusing the hell out of me.
A lot of people voted because their life's too damn expensive, and it was here, and
they voted for. You're telling me that all of these people who believe that their lives are, that bread is too high and eggs are too high, that they voted for a convicted fella, a guy who said we can grab the pea.
I think that a lot.
They voted for this guy.
I'm not defending it. But I think there are tons of people that don't pay attention to, and I'm not defending it, don't pay attention to politics at all. But while we live in the most prosperous country in the world, people are saying, life's not fair, I'm not doing well, my son's still living in the basement, I can't seem to get a job, I don't like the status quo, I'm voting for something else, and he was the person.
I love you to life,
I love you.
But I do not believe that. I cannot believe that. And the reason I think you believe it is because you don't want to believe that that's what's really motivating them. It's always the case. People don't want to believe what the country actually is, because if they believe it, they're going to have to confront what's in them. I don't believe that. They voted for a crook, a person who they know is stealing from, just doing everything to undermine the so-called country that they love. And then they're telling us the BS that it's economics. We know that's not true. We know it's not true. And we got to raise our kids in this shit. Oops.
You're allowed.
This is the problem with the Democratic Party. The constant virtue signaling. Oh, my racism. Do you really think, in what world on this planet would you think that somebody's skin color would determine who runs the country? That is absurd on its face. I know, coming from a white guy, right? But see, the way most people out there in the country look at race is we don't really care. I'm not denying the fact that there are racists out there. There aren't Nick Fuentes people out there. He doesn't have a following. I'm not denying that whatsoever. Sure, there are racism. There is racists out there, put it that way. Now, but to think that the vast majority, 74 million Americans, actually voted because of race. No, you are wrong, especially when grocery prices are so damn high. Everybody is struggling. And especially when we've seen such a shift in demographic voting, right? We've seen a historical shift in demographics over the past 8 years, away from the Democrat Party towards Donald Trump. One reason, Donald Trump, under Donald Trump's presidency, the economy was doing great. The economy was booming. And then we got to see the stark difference, juxtapose Trump's economy with Joe Biden's economy. Now, most people can see Kamala Harris was a part of that, and we were screaming this before the election. If she wants to build this opportunity economy and do all this stuff that Kamala Harris says she wants to do, how come she hasn't done it yet? How come they aren't implementing these policies that will help Americans instead of hurting Americans? Because every single thing that they seem to have done over the past 4 years has done nothing but harm this country. And to think that after all of this garbage from the Biden administration, after inflation rising up to 9% and then slowly ticking back down over the course of 2.5 years, do you really think that people aren't going to vote for that? Vote against that, I mean. Not for it. Of course, they voted against it, but it's because of that. To think that it's because of skin color, an immutable characteristic that nobody can change. By God, this is not the 1800s. This is not the early 1950s. We have come out of a period of racism in this country. We have taken racism, balled it up, and thrown it away as a country. People don't look at skin color anymore. I was brought up to not care about skin color whatsoever, that I am not created any different than anybody else, regardless of their ethnic background. Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything. Nothing whatsoever. But because some people, they just can't buy into the fact that we voted for a crook. He's not stealing anything from me or you or from anybody else. Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again. We have evidence to prove this. It's only in your delusional mind, Harvard professor, that people voted because of race, because of something so ridiculous as skin color. As if that matters to everyday people's pocketbooks. As if that matters to the popular mandate of this country as to the direction we want to go. No, that is not it, buddy. I'm sorry. That is not it whatsoever. And I think I've made my point quite clear on that. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Hey, you guys, don't forget to smash that like button for me if you don't mind. And if you're new around here, if you could, I would appreciate it if you could smash that subscribe button for me. I need your help, guys. So smash that like button, subscribe, share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Let me know what you think about all this down in the comments section. Did you vote because of race, or did you vote because Donald Trump's economy was way better than anything the Democrats have shown us that they are capable of doing? Let me know what you think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.